Welcome to the Ashford University Teaching and Learning Conference. Today's presentation will be by Claudia Grooms and Benita Moore. Claudia is an instructor at Southern Regional Technical College in Georgia. And Benita works as an administrator in the system office of the Technical College System of Georgia. In their former lives, Claudia worked as a registered nurse in a variety of nursing jobs, while Benita taught business education at the high school, two-year college, and four-year university level. Both have a passion for faculty development and recognize that master teachers are a very important component in developing successful students. And now, Claudia will begin this presentation titled, The Journey, Motivating the Master Teacher, Faculty Motivating Faculty. Thank you, Claudia.
All right, great. Thank you so much. We're excited to be here today and tell you all about our journey and related to faculty development. So this initiative actually started back in 2010, 2011, when our college was looking at determining what our quality enhancement plan, or QEP, for our upcoming SACS visit needed to be. And as an outcome of that, the purpose was determined to improve student success, but to do that by improving the instruction by faculty. So that kind of started our journey, and we'll tell you a little bit more about the journey as we go along. But what we found was that faculty do play a huge role in motivating students. Inside Higher Ed reported that 52% of all higher ed faculty are not engaged in the workplace, and this was in 2015. It was also found that faculty engagement has a dramatic effect on student learning and engagement. And this session provides a case study of our journey to engage master teachers based on Teachers Teach Teachers, creating an experience to facilitate connections, a collective experience with faculty, and maintaining the synergy through established networks. So what we found is that there was quite a bit of literature and efforts on working with students directly, but not as, and also on new faculty, but not so much on those faculty that have already been teaching for a while, that are experienced, that might even be considered a master teacher by students and peers. So what we found was that supporting faculty supports students, and with instructors coming from industry, which all of our instructors do, and Benita will mention more of that in a second, educational requirements and jargon can be very confusing to new and somewhat experienced faculty. So our roadmap to motivating experienced faculty, which was our focus, was promulgated by creating an experience that supports and validates a college's most valuable resource, which is our faculty. Our journey of re-envisioning faculty development was based on creating a system network of master teachers that emphasizes best practice, collaboration, and encouragement and motivation. And through this experience that we'll discuss as we go through, what we have found is that our faculty, our experienced faculty that have participated in this journey and in this process describe a feeling renewed. They feel that they're a valued member of a collaborative network, and this has resulted in motivation, revitalization to the practice of becoming and being a master teacher. So what is a master teacher? Well, we actually went and asked some students what they thought a master teacher looked like, and some of their comments were, master teachers know how important it is to connect with students. We heard that over and over. It's important to connect with the students. Master teachers engage and motivate. They provide motivation for the student. They listen to the student. They show the student and model excellent behaviors and excellence in practice. And master teachers help students understand the why of what they're learning, why that's important, contextualizing it to the work environment. And master teachers also care and value us, which really supported one of our tenets and sayings that what the teacher is more important than perhaps what he or she teaches. So why do master teachers need encouragement and motivation? And we came up with kind of a formula, and that formula is that motivated, inspired, valued faculty should equal motivated, inspired, and valued students. A little background information, and Benita will pick it up right here.
Good afternoon. Georgia has 3 different educational systems, and this will kind of give you information on what kind of how Claudia got to her program. But we have the pre-K through 12 system, the university and college system, and then we have the technical college system of Georgia. Within the technical college system of Georgia, there are 22 technical colleges. Claudia is at Southern Regional in Southwest Georgia. But again, we have 23 throughout the state. So when instructors are hired, most of the instructors are hired from industry, and they had very little teaching experience. They don't know the educational jargon as has been referenced, and each college has its own training program. And as you can imagine, some colleges do a better job than others, and so it varies from college to college. So the system office felt that we needed to provide some standardized training, and that's what we do. We have what we call phase 1 and phase 2 training sessions. All of these are for new instructors, but new is a relative term. Some colleges send them literally their first or second or third day on the job. Other colleges choose to wait, or sometimes they slip through the cracks and they don't come until they have 5, even 10 years of service. But they're geared toward new instructors. And last year in the phase 1 and phase 2 training, you can see that we had 16 phase 1 and 12 phase 2. We had almost 500 participants. And that training is on the college campuses. I conduct the training, and I go to colleges throughout our state and bring the training to them to help with their travel. It's easier for me to travel than it is for a group of them to travel. And when I have it on the college, other colleges that are nearby are invited to attend also or to participate in the training. So in looking at phase 1 training, we talk about the history and the mission of the technical college, kind of how we got to where we are, because we were VOTEC schools and now we're all accredited, regionally accredited colleges. We look at teaching strategies. Again, most of them have had little to no teaching experience. And we look at, have them look at different learning styles, different generations, and how they need to approach the classroom based on that. Learning domains and objectives are discussed, diversity in the classroom, syllabi, lesson plans, course standards, classroom management, assessment and evaluation methods. Again, all of these terms, a lot of times where information is new to instructors. We also talk about the importance of advisory committees. All of our programs have an advisory committee. We cover academic advising and why it is so important. And there's much more that we cover in phase 1. Phase 2 training is student services information. We have guest speakers and their information on student services. How does financial aid and how do, why is the registrar office and information important for our faculty to know? Talk about legal issues, and I sort of title it, and one of our attorneys speaks to the class on sort of the top 10 things that come across our attorney's desk and how you don't want your name attached to them. We have a presentation on web tools, not really training, but some quick tools that instructors can use to make things a little more manageable. And then each of the instructors do a presentation in the phase 2 training. In addition to phase 1 and phase 2 training, the system office has a licensing fee for Magna modules, and these are a subscription-based, on-demand, online seminars for our faculty. And there's 2 types. There's 20-minute modules, which are right at 20 minutes, and then those that are 30 minutes to an hour and a half. So administrator can say to a faculty, I need you to work on these 3 areas, and then can help by providing some modules for them to review. And all of this is at no cost to the instructor, and the college pays just a $200 annual fee per college, not per person, but per college. And that does some offsetting of some of the expenses that we have, but it really doesn't cover a whole lot, because this is a service that we provide to each of the colleges.
All right. So as Benita mentioned, there is some structure in place to educate the new hire or the new instructor, as we call our faculty in our system. So when we were looking at our QEP, we did do our research on all of the resources that are currently available to our faculty. But what we found was that perhaps we had some opportunities in working with that master teacher. And we described that person or individual as being someone that had experience in the classroom, perhaps a number of years in the classroom, but really was getting to the point where they just weren't as motivated anymore. So that became our challenge, is how do we motivate those master teachers to continue this master teacher experience or process? So what we did is, during our research, we backed into something on the internet known as the master teacher experience. And we couldn't find anything much about it. We found a little information about Robert Garrison starting the master teacher experience in the Virginia area back in the 1960s, but that was really all we could find. We found a couple of phone numbers here and there, so there were several of us actually involved in this process, about 5 of us. And actually 3 of us are currently still employed at the college that were here at the beginning of this journey. So we started calling around to see what could we find out about this master teacher experience, because it sounded really neat, but we didn't know really what it was. So we finally were able to back into someone in Alabama that says, I don't know anything about it, but I hear it's wonderful. And here's the name of the Alabama Master Teacher Experience Director, and even gave us a phone number. So we contacted that individual, and her name is Christy White, and she basically said, I can't tell you much about it, but it's a wonderful thing. It will really revitalize your experienced faculty. And if you want to know more about it, you can come to our next Alabama Master Teacher Experience. So we talked to our dean and our VPAAs, and they are like, well, sure, we'll let you go. So 3 of us loaded up, drove 8 hours to Alabama to their Alabama Master Teacher Experience. And this would have been around 2011, 2012, to be participants in their experience, with the intention that we would bring this experience or something similar, hopefully, back to our own college and do this internally in our college. Because the other piece to this motivation was running internally for recommended faculty, and we had 10 per cohort, was that each year we would have a special cohort of master teachers or experienced instructors that would meet once a month, all day. They would have some release time from a little bit from their teaching load, and they would learn about new theories in education or new processes. And as a part of this, kind of our practicum, so to speak, of this, was that we took one of our courses of our own choosing, and we would revamp it based on these best practices that we were learning. So at the end of this year-long experience, our cohort presented to each other, attended a conference, and then our plan was that the following year with the second cohort was that the first cohort instructors would be the instructors for the next or second cohort, and that we would offer this master teacher experience just within our own college for that cohort. But what we found was when we went, we were so re-energized, so blown away by the experience that we really felt that it needed to be bigger than our college. to receive the maximum benefits of it, that we couldn't just keep it to ourselves. So at that point in time, we approached our dean and said, we can't really tell you what this is all about, but it would be amazing. Our faculty really, really need this. And we would really like to be able to do this. Is it okay? And of course, our dean's like, well, how much does it cost? And we're like, well, we don't know. We don't really know because we haven't done it yet. We're trying to figure it out. Well, what are y'all going to be doing? Well, we can't tell you. Well, who's it for? It's only for faculty. So she's like, sure. I tell you what, if you can get our VPAA to approve it, then I'm on board with it. It's fine with me. So then we went to our VPAA, and she was approached about this process. She asked the exact same questions the dean did. And of course, the responses were the same. We'd really love to tell you, but we can't, but it will be amazing. Our college has to do this for our faculty. We feel very strongly. So she kind of looked at us over her glasses and she's like, well, I'll tell you what, if you can get the president to agree, then I'll support you. So he kind of looked at us when we went to talk to him about it. And of course, he was very much about the budget and what is it going to be. And we're like, well, we really can't tell you. You're just going to have to trust us on this, but it will be amazing. And his comment was, well, I tell you what, if you can get somebody at the state office to support it, then I'll be all about it. So Benita, our co-host here, was the person that was approached at the state office about this possibility. And I think she agreed, probably didn't realize what she was getting herself into, and she can comment on that maybe if she wants to a little later. But she trusted us enough as well. So in 2000, so we were getting ready to pull it together. So we called our Alabama master teacher kind of mentor back and said, all right, we got the approval. And it took about 6 to 7 months to get this approval. We're ready to go. She's like, well, that's really great. But you know what? You got to come back as facilitators for Alabama master teacher if you want all my stuff. Because we thought she was just going to give it to us. So we went back and told everybody, well, we got some more training to do. So we went back to Alabama the following year, 3 of us as faculty for the Alabama master teacher so that we could learn. We also took our second cohort of our local initiative with us to be participants with the plan that they would in turn be the staff for the Georgia master teacher experience when we finally got to that point. So long story short, we all got back. We put it together and it took about a year. And in July of 2014, we had our first Georgia master teacher experience. We really were nervous about it. We didn't know how it would go over. We sent out invitations to actually all of the vice presidents of academic affairs and the presidents at every technical college within our system. So that's 22 colleges, asking for participants and kind of the tenets of what we wanted to accomplish. And believe it or not, they actually trusted us to say, hey, I'll send some participants. So our first, we typically have about 70% participation from all of our, from among the 22 technical colleges. And that varies per year by school depending on what's going on with them, but overall about 70 to 75% participation. So we were really, really excited about that possibility. From there, our master teacher premises are, so here we are at our first experience in 2013, and we really promote these premises to our participants. Diversity yields creativity, and by that we mean diversity in all ways, in learning styles, in teaching methods, in our cultural backgrounds, the subjects that we teach, lots of diversity. Teachers teach teachers is our second premise. So this is all about faculty facilitating faculty. We have actually had previous participants that have moved up into some dean positions that would like to come back, actually have served as faculty and want to come back as faculty, but it's about faculty teaching faculty, or teachers and teachers teaching teachers. Our other premise also is that less is more. how can we make those shifts for our students in the classroom without overcomplicating things for them? So our design elements for our experience is that we really felt are critical to having a wonderful experience is the environment where this takes place. Our location, actually for us, our location is at a local hotel. So everybody moves in for the week so that we're a family there at the hotel. The few states that we do know a little bit about, their locations may be hotels or other places, but it is a place where all of the faculty are staying within close proximity. Even our faculty that are coming locally are required to stay at that location. Meals is really critical. Our tuition or fee for this experience is all-inclusive. So it's like going on an all-inclusive vacation. Your meals are covered, your hotel's covered, our activities are covered, and some other little goodies are covered. And all of our budget is based on the revenues that we bring in. TCSG helps us cover some of the meals and or reimburses us for some of the meals, but it's all based on our registration fees. We live within that budget. So our expectations are set prior to arrival. We fine-tune the system every year a little bit more so that our participants receive a sequencing of emails up to their arrival. And even the day of their arrival, they start getting some text about, we can't wait to see you, we're really excited about you being here, hope you're ready to learn, kind of things to start building that momentum and enthusiasm before they ever step foot in the door. And then we continue these high expectations throughout the experience. Our staff, again, our staff for master teacher goes back to the Alabama premise that a person has to have the experience before they can be a facilitator. It's critical to the process. The other criteria that we have for staff is that the staff person, who is actually selected by the director of the experience, those staff exhibit excellence in their craft and also a servant leadership attitude. We really base this on, when you study great teachers, you learn much more from their caring and hard work than from their style. So we're looking for both with our staff. They have to be exemplary, and they really are. Our participants, the selection process varies from college. We felt this was best not to be prescriptive in terms of what's a good faculty to send. We do give recommendations, but they're very broad. That may be the college teacher of the year, or Rick Perkins winner is what we call it in the state of Georgia. Or it may be just someone that the dean feels like really could benefit from the experience and wants them to come. Most colleges now are sending 2 to 3 participants every year. That depends on their budget, etc. But again, it's not prescriptive. We leave that up to the college. And our TCSG office actually sends our state TCSG Rick Perkins winner and actually pays their registration fee to come every year as well. The program is very structured with a little bit of flexibility. We basically start at 6:30 a.m. with breakfast, and then we go through till about 10:30 or so. I can't tell all our secrets, but anyway, and it's packed with different experiences. So for example, some of our experiences are, we talk about what are the special, innovative things that you're doing in your classroom? What's your inspiration? What inspires you? What do you use to inspire your students? So we get all of that sharing. We also have something, it's one of my favorites, is the 1-minute motivators. What is that one really short go-to that you might have to either start a class, to shift the momentum of a class, or to end a class? So when we all leave this experience, and it's 4 days, it runs Sunday through Thursday, a little after lunchtime, everyone leaves with at least, well, we have close to 30 participants. Everyone leaves with 30 of each of those categories. So they have, we literally have hundreds of things at our fingertips that we can use to enhance our own teaching. So just to give you a brief idea of what our participants have had to say, these are some of the comments. We do survey all of our participants before they leave, and it's anonymous and an anonymous online survey. But you can see some of the positive things that our participants have had to say. One of them said they would have to say that renewal was the most important thing, that they've gained a renewal for their reason for teaching. They can go back and inspire their students. They love what they're doing. And we find that most participants really talk about this in terms of renewal, recommitment, re-energization, about what we do every day. Because many of our participants come to us tired. I know no faculty will believe that, but they come to us really tired, sometimes a little down, sometimes really up. We have a real variety in our participants. So the experience speaks to our participants regardless of really where they're at. They really build each other up. You see a picture here. This was our Georgia Master Teacher group from actually this year. We had it in October, and then again, it was very, very well received. On our celebration evening, we actually have invite several people from our state office to come and participate in the celebration of faculty and accomplishment. Benita comes every year. We had an assistant commissioner, also another deputy assistant commissioner that's now our commissioner, all came for our celebration to let our faculty know how important they are to what we all do every day with our mission. So to sustain the journey, keeping connected is vital. So we continue with our contacts from PCSG. We work with our contacts from previous cohorts of Master Teacher Experience participants, as well as creating a cohort and some camaraderie with the participants, for example, that just left. We use some different apps to communicate with them while they're here, and they have actually continued to actually have daily conversations. Over the weekend, there were over 75 comments with the faculty that were here, just still exchanging ideas and asking questions and supporting each other. So it's really creating that network. So kind of some plans for the future are perhaps to do some reunions. We're calling them family reunions. We've had a lot of requests to do that. So we'll be working hopefully with Benita some on that as well. And you see our references, our contacts. We will be glad to answer any questions that you might have regarding this experience. Please feel free to contact myself or Benita. Benita, is there anything else you would like to add?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Claudia?
Yes.
No, other than, well, I will add this. When I was approached, because I am passionate about faculty development, I don't think you can have too much faculty development, and it just sounded like something that would benefit our faculty. I still know very little about it, other than about probably those who have heard this presentation know about as much as I do. But I do know when I go see the faculty that are involved, it tells me a lot. And I just believe in the successes. And I run into these instructors throughout the state, and they have a different level of commitment to our students. And so that's what I see as the benefit.
Great. Well, thank you, Benita. We can't do it without you. And we really appreciate y'all's participation. Again, feel free to contact us should you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.